Good evening there, happy people. I hope everybody is doing wonderful this evening. And let's get that part turned down. Come back over here. Good evening, everyone. As everybody saw in the title, hurricane season is now up on us as of July 1st. Excuse me, sorry, June 1st. So I figured we start with the generator, see if I can get any questions, because I'm going to try and get my generator permanently hooked up this up and coming next few weeks. I have to put a trench in. I have to put in a sub panel. I was just wondering if anybody wanted to see videos of me doing that. Besides just doing it, no video. I just want to see what everybody thinks. Okay. I will be going over the different types of plugs with generators, safety with generators. I'm going to try and get those at least minimum 20. I prefer 25 feet away from any of your structure that you're going to be living in due to carbon monoxide poisoning, because that is a very serious issue, especially during calamities such as these hurricanes, earthquakes, after the fires and stuff like that, where you lose power. Well, I just want to see how many people were really interested in it, Rob. That's why I'm putting this out during the live stream, describing the different types of plugs and receptacles, cords, breakers, stuff like that. Like I said, I am not a licensed electrician. I've been dealing with electricity now for 6 years now, starting 7 soon. So yeah, a lot of it I learned all within 3 weeks. I mean, I sat down and I studied hard. Yeah, I had to redo the whole house. I wasn't having somebody come out and spend $10,000 to rewire a house. Wasn't going to happen. So I did it myself. And actually, it's not hard. The hardest part of doing electrical work is actually knowing the codes and deciphering the codes. They are a little on the vague side. So as long as you do everything up to code, when doing this, like I said, and installing your own generator system for your home, there are certain rules you need to follow. Make sure that you are not going to backfeed and stuff like that. Safety precautions, that's just, you don't want to do this in a hurry, especially during hurricane season. If the power goes out and you have to do a manual start on your generator and get everything ready, please wait until after the storm has passed before you go out. Okay, don't go out during the storm and try and set up and turn on your generator. It's just too dangerous to go out there with flying debris, lightning, and stuff like that. So just wait till after the storm, go out there, start your generator, let the generator at least warm up at least 5 minutes before you plug it in and turn on for the house. Okay, that's why you get the generator part to actually warm up, give it a chance to get going, and then you can start up the process of plugging everything in. And while it's warming up, you can actually do a couple of things while it's warming up, so you can make everything safe. You must shut your power off going to the grid. Just turn off that main, and then you have to switch a couple of breakers while the generator is running and warming up. And then you can plug in your generator and flip on that last breaker after the diodes have warmed up in the generator. Okay, always hopeful to see another doing stuff. Yes, versus the company and how to do videos. Well, yeah, I'll probably do it as not as a how to do it, as how I'm doing it. Like I said, I'm not a licensed electrician, and if you don't feel comfortable doing this, just hire a professional. Okay, like I said, it is risk involved.
But you're hooking it up to gas, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be hooking up to gas. Like I said, we are going to try to get a propane tank on the property, at least a 250-gallon tank. I can swap my generator over to run off of propane if need be. All I need is just the little fitting to fit on the intake of the carburetor, which will allow it to use the not natural gas, the propane. and you can use that. Now, when you're using propane, you will lose power. You will lose 25% power for the generator because it doesn't have as much bang for the buck as gasoline. Same thing with natural gas. So keep that in mind. When I do these videos, I will try and go over as much as I can. These will probably be lengthy videos, so I'll probably break them up for each stage that I'm doing. I will be going into the power box, showing everybody what to do and do not do. Okay. Well, I won't show anybody how to do what. I will explain the do not do's. I will not do the do not do's because I don't have that kind of safety equipment and dummies and stuff to do that. Yeah. The 30 plus Hank Hill propane. Yeah. Like I said, that is just going to be a last ditch effort for the propane for when I do run out of the gasoline to run. Like I said, the first 3 or 4 days after a hurricane, it is hot and muggy. If you can get everybody into one room, so you can run a window unit for air conditioning, that's the way to go instead of trying to do the whole house. They do have whole home generators out there. They are expensive, and they are expensive to run. Like the Generacs. Those do have to be professionally installed for them to be warranted. And then the maintenance records. You do have to pay for a monthly service for them to come out. They check the generator at least once a month. They come out there, they visually inspect it, make sure everything is good. Do some testing, or is it every 2 or 3 months, which one you want to choose. I looked into the Generacs, and I didn't like the way they were going to be using propane at an extremely large rate of using propane. So that's why we've decided to go ahead and do gasoline first while you can, propane secondary, or use the propane until the gasoline or the gas stations actually start getting power. Then you can go down and get gasoline like everybody else. Just before hurricanes, make sure you have enough cash, okay, so you can pay for fuel. The last hurricane we went through was Beryl. I said we were lucky enough that we only lost power for only a little while, but nobody can get fuel with a credit card or a debit card because the internet service was down. Fortunately, we had cash. I was able to pay for cash for fuel. So make sure hey, Whistle Stop, how you doing? Yeah, so make sure you do have cash on hand before the hurricane hits. Okay, watch the Weather Channel, watch Weather Nation. Keep an eye on that weather.
That backup generators don't cover the ATM machines.
Yeah, backup generators don't cover up the cover for the ATM machine. It does send power to the ATM machine, but the internet will be down. Okay, like I said, it'll be down for several days before they can get crews up and running, get out there and repair problems. We noticed that our last hurricane that we went through. Let's see. I'm waiting for Mr. Fox at Outdoors to pop up here because he actually has solar. He has solar, but it's connected to the grid for his place. He can explain that a little bit better than I can because I've never dealt with solar. I've thought about solar. The problem is I have to remove a lot of trees to our south, and those trees are actually help keeping us cool in the summertime. I don't have a big yard. Now, maybe later on in the future, when I do purchase a nice piece of property, I will probably go solar there. And let's see, and we'll probably go over the types of receptacles for the generators. I did pull up where's that screen? think it's that one. Yeah, it's that one. Alrighty, and with here, I hope you guys can see this. There's hi Cliff, how you doing? Let me put this out for Cliff.
Yes, his phone's not coming up.
No. Alrighty, I'll wait here for him to pop up. Then I'm gonna go dark for a few moments. Well, anyways, I figured I'd share this picture here with the different types of receptacles for your cords, so you can at least match them up when you wanna, if you have to make your own pigtails. Oh, hi Des, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. And like I said, we're gonna go over these different receptacles here. Hope you guys can see that. Let me get over here to my other screen here. Alrighty, as you can see, this is the Predator 13,000 watt generator. That's going to be for the startup for when appliances kick on. This is a 10,000 watt run wattage. So 10,000 watts is quite a bit. As you can see here, you have a 50 amp plug. You have a 30 amp 220 plug. A different type of 30 amp 220 plug, but it does not have a ground. Okay, or is that 110? It's hard for me to tell, but then you have your regular 20 amp outlets, and you got your breakers up in here, breakers here, breakers here. I believe that is an hour meter, and this is also an electric start. So I can't imagine what it would take to pull start, an engine this size. Along with the more amperage you have for generators, larger the engine, the more fuel you are going to use. Just to give you a heads up. I have the Predator 9000, and I do get about 13 hours of runtime per 7 gallons of fuel. So as you know, it can get quite expensive during hurricane season. Make sure you have enough money to get for fuel. I said, fill up all your gas cans before the hurricane hits. Okay. I also have to do some maintenance and repairs on my generator. I do have to replace the shutoff fuel switch, also known as the petcock, for the gas for the fuel tank, and I will probably be adding a fuel filter to it as well, just to make sure it doesn't get clogged up on the generator. Last time I ran the generator was about 3 months ago. So I said, and if you also look on these receptacles really close, it also tells you on the box what type of receptacle these are. It's going to be a designated numbers and letters and a dash and numbers again and then a letter. Okay, for instance, this one here is going to be the L1430R. Okay, the R is going to be for the receptacle. Then you have the L1430P, which is going to be for the plug. So that's going to be the male part of the plug, so you can plug it in. So every one of these will have a designated icon or a code on all these receptacles. So you can actually go down and you can match them up at your local hardware store. I'm not going to say which one you guys can go to. But yeah, so this one here is an electric start, which is nice. It's just keeping the battery up is a pain in the neck. Like I said, I'm still young enough and strong enough where I can actually pull start these engines. It's not hard. Usually I can pull start mine on the second pull. And like I said, when I'm done using the generator, I do run the generator out of fuel and let it die up on its own without a load on it. So no load. You turn the breaker off, you let it run, you turn the fuel system off, then you can let the engine die. Okay, let me go ahead and hide this for a little while. Okay, Give me a second. I have to seriously take AC water collection right now. Oh, okay, yeah, he's got to go dump his AC water. Okay. So, is there any questions for anybody? So I can at least try to answer them as best I can. And if anybody's watching this later on, please like and subscribe, and put any questions you have down in the comments below, so that I can do a video with those questions in mind. Anything else on here that we need to know about? Like I said, of course, we went over the breakers, hour meter. Like I said, I have not seen this generator yet. So that's going to be like your, turn it on, start. I don't know if this one has an eco mode on it or not. This is a tri-fuel, so you can use gasoline, propane, or natural fuel, which is similar to propane. Yeah, so whistle stop. Yeah, you might have to do you'll probably have to get a new carburetor for it, because it might be gummed up. Make sure you drain all the fuel out of it. Make sure you put a fuel filter on there. Just a little bit of maintenance can go a long ways. There's some companies out there that you can get new carburetors for. All you have to do is, the make and model of the generator and put in their carburetor replacement. If you don't know how to work on carburetors, that might be the easier move. Taking carburetor off, cleaning it, and all that does take a little bit of time. I know I can take off the carburetor and have it back on the generator, ready to go, in approximately 30 minutes. They've had to do it a couple times. So I probably have to do that again, but I did run it out of fuel. But like I said, mine hasn't run in about 3 months, maybe 4. Like I said, I do have to change out the petcock on it, which is basically the fuel shutoff. And I also want to add a fuel filter or inline fuel filter going to the carburetor. If I do a new carburetor on it where I can have the propane run on it, I'll probably do a video on that. I know there's several of them out there. Yeah, but like I said, we're going to go over a few other things besides generators for hurricane preparedness. Oh, yeah. Like I said, I have the Predator 9000, which only has a 30 amp receptacle and the 2 of the 20 amp receptacles. It would have been nice if mine had the 50 amp receptacle on there. It would have been nice. But generally what I do is I plug in the 30 amp into the house, and then I'll run the air conditioners off of these units right here. Let me go back to this one here. I'll run my air conditioners off of these 2 here. Like I said, I'll let the the air conditioners cycle on first before I turn on any kind of lights, fans, or anything else like that, just so those can get started. And because when they start, it takes a little bit of power for it to get going. Once they're running, they'll run, but it's that surge when they first start up will take a lot of power. So you want to do stuff individually so you can keep it from drawing it all at one time and throw on the breakers. So you want to do just a little bit at a time. Now, my Generator 9000 can do a water heater, 30 amp water heater. I have to shut everything else down first, and then I can cycle on the that breaker so it can actually heat up water. Now, that's one of the advantages of having a tanked electric water heater. because you can actually run it off of a 30 amp generator. Barely, but it can be done. If you have a electric instant water heater, your 30 amps will not run that water heater. It's just too much power. Those things start out anywhere between 40 to 120 amps for a tankless water heater. They're great for that, but if you have a lot of people in the house, I don't believe a tankless water heater is a way to go. I like the tanked water heaters. All right, let's see if Mr. Cliff is back on. Back in here yet? Yep. And there is Mr. Foxy Outdoors, aka Cliff. He will be joining me shortly here. So, any other questions? Like I said, I will probably try to film the maintenance on the generator. So, some of the stuff I do have to replace. And there he is.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Jason with the generator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I know, Cliff, you have solar. So
I do have solar, but we're not solar with off-grid capacity.
yes. Hey, King Break Barrel, how are you doing? Yeah, so I would greatly appreciate people leaving comments for me in the chat below after the live stream has ended, so then I know I can answer those. Yeah, so this will probably be my next generator. I will definitely get a 50 amp generator for my next generator when this one here is no longer living. I've had this generator. I bought this generator like 2 months, 3 months after I was here. No, 2 months after I moved here. I got that generator. Oh, and a little trick with the generators. You can order online for a magnetic dipstick. Okay, so that when you do the break-in period, you can collect all the little metal shavings and debris that's in there. That's metal, and you can pull that out, wipe it off, put it back in there. What I also did is every 10 hours, when the generator was brand new, I did change the oil. I ran the generator about 5 hours a day, or 5 to 6 hours a day, when I had to rewire the house because I could not get any temporary power. They would not give it to me. So I ran off a generator for 3 months at 5 to 6 hours a day doing the house. And I did it in the summertime, so I was sweating like heck. So, Mr. Cliff, how you doing?
I'm doing, I suppose. Tired. I did absolutely nothing today other than sit in my house and stare at Instagram all day.
Oh, no, like I said, I had a nasty sinus headache a few hours ago, and it finally dissipated around about 6:30 or so while I was trying to set up the live stream, trying to find the perfect picture for the generator so that we can actually see it. So I can try to explain it. Now, I do have my receptacles. No, I do have my generator temporarily in a temporary location, but I will be putting that in a permanent location here shortly.
Nice. I'm assuming more toward where the greenhouse is going to be sitting.
Yeah, I'm going to have it in the carport because the carport is separate from the house, so I can keep the rain off of it. It's just a cover and two sides, so the air can flow right through it. Exhaust is going to go right out the side of it.
Nice.
And what I'll probably end up doing is I'll probably take a fan out there, if it's going to be running, and put it next to the generator to try and blow air across the generator, to try and keep it as cool as possible.
Keep it from overheating.
Yeah.
Damn it. Oh, I got that thing there tight. Oh, there we go.
Because I do know they have generators in boxes. However, they still run.
Well, they put them in the boxes, but I think when people put them in the boxes to silence them, they usually have some sort of ventilation, like motorized ventilation,
and an
to
exhaust.
prevent them from exploding or creating fumes from the back pressure of the gas. Because the gas lids on those things, regardless of what people will say, they're vented so they don't explode.
Yeah. I said I'm not going to box mine all the way in. I'm just going to have a tarp on it for when it's not being used. Just enough to keep it covered. But at least it'll have a hard cover over it. And like I said, I will be grounding the frame of the generator to the ground because I do have a grounding rod. I just have
You're not keeping the wheels on it, or you're just taking it off the wheels and just going bare frame.
I'm going to probably go bare frame on top of a wooden stand.
Yeah, okay.
Because I have to get it about 3 feet off the ground.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because of the flooding.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, that generator has also been through a flood, too. And I managed to get it up and running after a flood, believe it or not. I just let it sit out there for about 2 weeks, change the fuel, clean out the carburetor. I blew out, the control panels, everything else, make sure everything was dry. And I started up and I checked the meter, and thank goodness it survived. I was so happy.
Yeah, generators are relatively hardy.
Yeah, for the Harbor Freight generator, yes, it is. I think because the first 50 hours, I changed the oil at least 4 times in the first 50 hours. And then I just changed the oil every 50 hours when I was running it. So I did put a lot of hours on that generator. Unfortunately, my generator does not have an hour meter. I tried to get an hour meter when I first got it. I'm estimating that my generator has approximately close to 300 hours on it.
It's a lot of hours.
There's a lot of hours on that generator. Because I know for 3 months, for 5 to 6 hours a day, that racked up time on there. But then we had Laura come through, Hurricane Laura, 5 years ago. 5 years ago. And we ran that generator for 8 days before we got power back.
Yeah, that's a good amount of time right there alone, just 8 days, because you're looking at 160 something plus hours in a day, or no, sorry, in a week.
Yeah, and like I said, every couple days I just change the oil. You be quiet. Yeah, then also for Beryl, believe it or not, we actually lost power from Hurricane Beryl. We lost power for about 2 days, only because the tornado came through and ripped up all of the power lines.
Yeah, that is the reason why it's called a tornado.
Oh, yeah.
And not a leave-nado.
Yeah. Like I said, everybody east of us had power from the lows. East had power, but from the lows west, nobody had any power for about 2 days.
Crazy.
Was it stopped in the surface everybody?
Well, yeah. I mean,
a really good phone case.
Yeah, you got, a tornado came through that was 300 yards wide and just, ripped them all apart. And I will probably be installing I'll show people how to install a surge protector too, because I have not done that yet. So this total setup is going to cost me a couple dollars. I know it's $118 for the surge protector for the whole house.
Oh, that ain't bad.
No, it's not bad. I mean, it's the cost about 5 of the plugins that you use for your computer, your TV, and all that. And if I'm going to pay 5, that much money for 5 of those objects, I can get one object that can handle better surge protection inside the breaker box, which will cover all your LED light bulbs now, because they're computers. Your refrigerator has a computer in it. Your washers and dryers have computers in it now. Everything you plug in.
Just about everything has Bluetooth connectivity to it. So yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, that's one of those things. And I also did find at work. I do have a a power box that you can plug in, so it's it saves a charge. Was it 400 watts battery that you can plug like our router in. So if we lose power, we still have that internet going.
Oh yeah, the battery backups. It usually has the. God, I don't know what those things are. Usually 50 to 100,000 milliamps, and then usually have about 6 plugs on them.
Yeah,
with their own surge protector, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and it's $70 right now at Lowe's.
Not bad.
Yeah, because I stocked them last week. They came in, so I have 4 of them at work. We don't sell a whole lot of them, but I try to push some of our products, for emergencies, stuff like that. And it's just one of those things that I would like to get and install it. I mean, it's just basically you unplug it, you plug it in, then you put your router into it. You're good to go.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So if you lose power, at least you'll have internet if internet service is provided from the provider. And hello, Deb. How you doing? I didn't see that earlier. And Grace.
Deb laughing at my tornado joke. It took me a second to realize why she was laughing. I'm like, what did I say? It was funny, and then I'm like, oh, that's gotta be my tornado joke.
Yeah.
Huh? Who is Deborah?
Deb. Yeah. She's just on a different device.
Oh.
Yeah. She goes, yep, she heard. Yeah. So, like I said,
thought you were cheating with another Deb.
Oh. Well, he says I thought I was cheating with a different Deb on YouTube. It's a different Deb. Nope, it's the same Deb. Yeah. I haven't, like I said, speaking of other subscribers, I did see Cecilia's video. So.
Oh, she put out a video? I didn't even get that.
Yeah, about 8 minutes long. Yeah, back to the getting prepared for hurricane season and taking care of your electrical needs. You still want to keep, you want enough power so you can at least run, a freezer, a refrigerator, a portable air conditioning unit or a window unit. Those don't take a whole lot of power. Again, you want to use it in a depending on the size of the air conditioning unit, you can, yeah.
Where did you take my bug spray?
Hold on a minute.
I got a scary spider under my bed.
Oop. Apparently my neighbor called me to see if I was still alive because she hasn't seen me outside all day. That's when you know you got good neighbors. Because my neighbors always see me outside. Yeah, no, I've literally spent the entire day inside. I went outside briefly to get the mail, and then I came right back in. Because it was hot today. And the only reason why I went out and got the mail is because my air conditioner decided I forgot about this before the live started. Hence the reason why it took me a second to get on here. I said I had to deal with air conditioner water emergency. My water was actually dripping over the side of my container. So I had to siphon it out into a backup container and empty out my other water container. So I probably dumped out close to 3.5-4 gallons of water. I had a little bit on my floor, but nothing dramatic. I've had that thing on all day after sleeping all night, and yeah, that I came back to a massive puddle on my floor. Now, my neighbors aren't going to rob me. Neighbor's older lady. The only ones that are relatively close to my age in this area are the renters across the street and the people that live in the house on that side of the house. The 2 renters. But yeah, no, most of everybody around here is a little bit 50s and 60s. Some of them close to 70. No, Rob, you have tall fences over there so people can't peek into your gardens and try to steal your strawberries. That's why y'all have tall fences. Plus, y'all got some nosy ass neighbors too.
Some advice.
Sorry. Just trying to turn the sound off on that. I've already been hitting that, Deb, for the last couple of days. It's just getting, and the worst part is it's not even July yet, and we're hitting triple digits.
Alrighty, I'm back.
Oh my god, he can't be scared to almost get, just kidding.
Yeah, well, I had to take care of a piece of fuzz that looked like a spider
It was moving.
because the air was moving, honey. Okay, what did I miss here? Oh yeah, the temperatures are rising.
Yeah, getting a tad bit toasty over here. Like I said, I've been inside all day. I've not wanted to go out at all because it is just too crispy. Way too crispy.
Yeah, like I said, we had heat index today, what, 102, 103?
Yeah.
So it was hot and muggy.
Feel like 103.
She said it felt like 103.
Tomorrow.
Oh, for tomorrow, okay. I had to go get a refill on my coffee at the same time as I was saving Molly from the fuzzy spider.
Was it a fuzzy fighter? A fuzzy fighter?
Yeah, so yeah, like I said, we'll get back to our generators. When you're dealing with watts, you want to deal with, that is going to be your budget available for your equipment that you are going to run. So if you do your amps times voltage, 125 will give you your wattage rating. So then you can say, okay, this takes so many watts, this takes so many watts, this takes so many watts. Okay, the thing that's going to be your running watts, not your startup watts. So your startup watts will about 1.5 times of what the piece of equipment is. So that's when the AC kicks on, and then the compressor kicks in. It takes a little bit more energy for it to get started, and after about 30 seconds, when it's on run, when it's actually running, the wattage usage goes down because it's not trying to work as hard from when it first starts up. Don't open and close your refrigerator as much. Try and keep that as closed as much as possible. So always remember that. So you can get your piece of paper down there, write everything down, what your wattage usage is. And then you can, once you get your generator started, up and running, turn on your highest used appliance. Okay, usually it's going to be like a refrigerator, freezer. And remember, those take a while for it to cycle. Okay, if the refrigerator's less than the eighth of a mile of the station, first phase of it. Okay, Rob. Yes, Deb. Yes, I took care of this. I took care of the fuzzy spider. Yeah. So you want to start with your highest one to start, especially if you haven't had any power for several hours, waiting for the hurricane to pass through. Don't try and do that during the eye of the storm, please. Just wait for the whole storm to pass. Then go out there and start everything up. Start with your highest usage wattage item. Let that get started. Just start your next one, start your next one, start your next one. And you can do that by using the breakers. Yeah, the first thing you want to do is get out there, shut all the breakers down. Turn them all off. Make sure they're all labeled first. That's maybe we should just do right now is go out there. Find out exactly what breakers are you going to be needing. And those are the ones you're going to want to turn on. Like I said, you're going to take your washing machine, turn that off. Turn off your dryer, turn off your AC unit for your home, and just run the essential breakers that you need to run. And make sure the first breaker you should shut off is going to be your main breaker. Just to make sure you're not backfeeding the grid. We don't want to kill a lineman down the road a couple of miles because the generator will do that. They do have an interlock where you can actually, before you turn on your generator breaker, you have to turn the main off for the other breaker to be turned on. It's just a little metal guard that you actually have to turn off, lift it up, and then turn your breaker on. And you have to do it manually. They do have automatic transfer switches, which will automatically shut that main off, and then electronically. Then the generator starts up. Then it feeds your home. That's where most of the cost comes in. The biggest cost for installing a generator or something equivalent to that is the actual infrastructure installation from a professional. And that usually takes 1 to 2 days. And if you do have a professional go out there and take care of that, make sure it is a licensed, bonded, and insured company with the company you bought your generator with. Okay, I know that everybody's the Generac. Oh yes. Like I said, there is a clause in there that you do have to pay them to actually watch it for you, do the maintenance and everything else, which is kind of good. It leaves the liability with another company. But as soon as you mess with that, you're going to void the warranty with it as well. So always watch out for those clauses. There's a small solar panel for charging phones and mini fans and computers. Yes, good, Deb. I said I just don't have the open space here to do a solar generator. It would be nice. But starting a fire hooked up to the wrong is a bad idea. Huh? Did I say something? I didn't say starting a fire. So you start up. Yeah, and make sure everything's hooked up right. Like I said, if you don't feel comfortable doing this, please hire a professional. Just make sure it's a licensed, bonded, and insured company that can do that for you. And don't be afraid to ask for a bid, not an estimate. You ask them what the bid is. Okay? Estimate is just an estimate. Prices can change. Yeah, so like, for instance, for a person like Des is in a townhouse or an apartment, this is where the electric generators or storage batteries would be the best thing. It's just really hard to, if you're on a fixed income, being older, being the times that they are with the high inflation with the cost of everything. It does make it hard so you can actually get something so you can at least have power during a power outage. Okay, neighbor across the street did not install the use of the generator for the apartment, was not happy with him. Oh yeah. I mean, you have to have proper steps. Safety is going to be the main concern. Like I said, like I was saying with Des, The best thing to do is basically you're gonna use the electric generator, as they say. A solar generator is probably what they're called, where you can have a solar panel out there and keep the batteries charged. However, if you're going to be running an AC unit, you are going to deplete those batteries fairly quick, unless you have a large battery storage.
Yeah, AC sucks power like nobody's business.
Yeah, you know what uses more energy than an AC unit?
Swamp cooler.
Heater.
Oh yeah, definitely.
A heater will use power faster than anything. Keep the fridge and fans going. Yeah, as long as you got a fridge and fans, yeah. It doesn't take a whole lot of power to run a refrigerator because it cycles off and on. As long they're well insulated, and they'll probably kick on only a couple times a day. Now, if you keep opening and closing that door, yeah, it's going to run a little bit more often. Modern refrigerators are very good, at using the least amount of power as possible, and they're well insulated.
Until the power goes out, unfortunately.
Yeah, so he moved 5 years ago, and the new owner redid everything. He did, and then some. Yes, like I said, hooking these things up is it's not quick and easy. There are, as I call the dirty way to do things. That's when you're getting desperate. But take your time. Don't do anything desperate. Take your time. Make sure everything is installed correctly and with the correct components, please.
Yep, that works too, Des. Filling up empty water bottles, freezing them, and then just sticking them just leaving them in your freezer keeps your freezer colder longer. You can even, if you know you're about to have a power outage, stick a handful or so of them suckers in the fridge too, and it'll keep that fridge a lot colder, a lot longer.
Yeah. Again, it's wonderful if you have, propane or natural gas. However, like I said, during the ice storms that we had here in 2020, or it was 2021, when we had that nasty one that came through, a lot of the gas pipes actually froze. The gas pipes froze, so they weren't getting any fuel. So that infrastructure has been, I believe, fixed for the next time.
Hopefully, because that thing killed power for a ton of Texans.
Oh yeah,
and they were out of power, and it wasn't just like a 2 or 3 day thing. They were out of power for like 2 weeks.
5 days. Yeah, 5 days to 2 weeks. Yeah,
in some areas, it was bad. They had no heat nowhere.
Oh yeah, even Houston area was below freezing for 4 days. We were freezing for 5. But we didn't lose power. That was the nice thing. Our power comes from somewhere else besides the central Dallas area. Ours comes from South Louisiana. Is where our power actually comes from. We got lucky enough where during Laura, when we lost all that power, when Laura hit Louisiana and took out Louisiana, there was people there for 2 years without power. 2 years.
Well, it's because a freaking hurricane wiped out a good portion of the infrastructure, and it took them that long to rebuild everything because you got to get in supplies. And it's not like every hardware store across the nation just going to be like, oh, well, yeah, we've got all this stuff. We're just going to send it down. And even if they do, you still got to wait 3 to 5 days for that stuff to ship from one place to the next.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, they had to redo the entire infrastructure. Like I said, it did a lot of damage. But like I said, it didn't do any damage here. But where the power generation station was, there in Lake Charles, it was just almost leveled. Everything was just tore up. They had to redo the full infrastructure. I mean, they were able to generate power, right away, but the infrastructure to take the power out to the masses was no longer there. So they had to do a quick, dirty run to get everything up and running as quickly as they possible. Then they slowly redid the infrastructure. They were actually doing both at the same time, but yeah, that's why they had a lot of linemen coming from across the whole U.S. Same thing with Beryl. We actually went down to Houston, 3 days after Beryl came through, and there were still no places to stop and eat or get fuel. We were lucky enough that we were able to get fuel here. We filled up the van, then we went down there and came back. Trying to find a place to eat wasn't happening. Even the Waffle Houses weren't even up and running.
Yeah, that's bad too. You when you have a Waffle House shut down, you know your area's in a massive heap of trouble.
Yeah,
Because they will. I think it was you and me were talking about this last time that Waffle House has actual measures for this stuff, and if Waffle House is in an area that's affected, they'll send people from other Waffle Houses across the globe to work at that Waffle House for the people that work there normally
are taking care of
their stuff that they have to deal with at their house.
Yeah, believe it or not, Lowe's does the same thing. When we had the hurricanes come through Louisiana past few years, several of us from our store went to go help them at that store for 2 weeks.
That was totally not off screen. Shit, my bad.
That's okay. Yeah, the Waffle House disaster scale. There actually is a website for that.
Denny's too. Surprisingly enough, if a Denny's is closed in an area, you're in some deep.
Bandini.
Yeah, you're like knee deep because Denny's don't ever shut down. I've never seen a Denny's closed unless it was either under construction or being completely remodeled.
Or a big natural disaster. Yeah,
Well,
if you don't have power and you don't have water, you can't open up that business.
there's a lot of places that if you don't have running water, you can't open. Surprisingly, where I work, despite being in a pizza restaurant, if I don't have running water, I can't physically run the store.
Yep.
Because I can't make anything with water.
Yeah. Yeah, they closed both of those places here with Stinky.
No, Des says they can close them there because she doesn't like them stuck.
Yeah.
I like eating at Waffle House and Denny's. Waffle House has good pie, even though you can get the same damn pie literally in the store. It was either the Michael's or the Marie Callender's. That's really essentially what that pie is.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Getting rid of all Michael's. I'm not happy.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get, have some folks, go ahead, put something in the chat after the video. What they want to see, how is it done? And if it's if I'm going to do anything that's to be close to that. I'm basically going to go from my breaker box. I'm putting in I'll probably put in a 50 amp breaker. I'll be running my wire out to a sub panel, out to the carport. Then from there, I'll put the generator breaker in there, and also have my my infrastructure for my yard go out from there instead of from the house. Like the yard lights and stuff like that. It'll be a 6 breaker box.
Thought I turned you on.
Yeah. It has 6 breakers, a 612, those 6 spaces, 12 circuits. It'll be an outdoor box, and from there I can also go down and have a receptacle for the generator. I'll put that box in there, and then I'll just run a 5-foot pigtail from there to the generator. Maybe a 7-foot, depending on where the box is installed next to the generator. I don't want the box above the generator. I want it off to the side. So it's easier to access that breaker box.
Makes sense.
Yes, Deb, they do. Yeah, so I just want to be able to access that, with ease. Then I'll move the receptacle close to the generator, run it off of there. I know there's a lot of breaks in it. I'll lose some, but at least it's going to be at least 40 feet from the house. So it'll be a little bit less quiet. In the carport, it'll be less quiet, and I won't hear it as much. And yes, it's going to be chained down, strapped down, so it doesn't grow feet. Then I'm also going to be grounding it, to, the frame to the ground. Then also be grounded to the house as well for the generator part of it. But I have conduit. I just have to get a couple of fittings, and I have to put that underground. That's the part that that I don't like doing is digging up and putting all that in by hand next to a tree that has big old giant large roots.
Yeah, that stuff's never fun.
Yeah, I'll be using a 6.3 Romex in there, so that's good up to 75 amps. So when I do upgrade to a 50 amp, it can handle it. And who knows? I don't know if I'm going to do a solar generator. If I do a solar generator, then I don't need such a big, giant generator. You just need enough just to charge the electric generator. Or you can charge that during the daytime. Now, use your generator during the daytime and switch over to your stored battery overnight. So you got your, you can do both at the same time. If I didn't have this giant pecan tree right next to the shop that's attached to the house, I'd probably put solar on top of that. That's a lot of area to put solar on. But I'd only be able to collect solar for about, in the summertime, maybe 6 hours to 8 hours out of the day.
That's still more. That's more than what you need. Majority of the time, that's more than plenty of hours to charge up most depleted power sources.
Yeah.
Because that's usually what around the average time it is, even for like a 12-volt battery. Like
Yeah.
if you have a solar generator, depending on the voltage and amps of the solar panel, it can take anywhere between 4 to 12 hours. But again, that higher end is for larger batteries.
And during the daytime, it has enough chance to charge. You can, or you can run the solar during the daytime and then charge your batteries at night while you're using a generator. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, no.
Use the gas at night, and then use your your battery power during the day. Believe it or not, you can run quite a bit of equipment off of 50 amps. But I said, when I wired this house, I put in redundancy. I really did. Now, I should have filmed, me wiring the house, and I didn't do it. I was more focused on getting the job done than ever thinking about filming. I said, I didn't start doing YouTube until 20. I know I did a couple of videos, back in 20 and 21, but I really didn't start until like 23. End of 22, getting into 23 is when I really started putting out videos, getting comfortable being with the camera, stuff like that. But yeah, along with, switching over from generators to now preparing for, food preparation. So having stored food, you want to use up all your perishables first. Okay, so if you lose power, you're not going to lose your freezer full of food. I said, I have enough, I can get enough fuel. Like I can go 15, 30 plus the 7. I can do about 40 gallons for being prepared before the hurricane to get fuel for the generator. Okay. So let me do a little bit of math here real quick.
40 hours will get you, or 40 gallons will get you a good amount of run time.
It does. Like I said, I get 7 divided by 13 hours divided by 7 gallons, and that gives me about 1.8 gallons per hour. So we're going to round it up to 1.9 gallons. So let's clear that.
Shit, I might have to leave here. And the neighbor's having an issue again.
So that's wrong. By 1.9 gallons. So we're talking 21 hours. No, that's not right. Oh, that's 21 gallons. Okay. Where did I mess up with my math?
I have no idea. You get what? How many hours do you get on a 1 gallon of runtime?
About 1.8. And that's that full load.
No, how did you get? You only get 1.8 hours per gallon runtime.
Runtime, yeah.
So, like 50 hours of runtime on 40 gallons.
Oh, I did that wrong. We got to do times.
Anyway, sorry, folks. I have to disappear for a bit. Neighbor's having a bit of a crisis that I got to deal with. I'll be back in a bit.
Okay. Alrighty, yeah. So I just did the times instead of I did divide instead of times. So I get about 76 hours on 40 gallons. Divided by 24. Clear. So 70. So basically 80. I can get almost 80 hours. So 80 divided by 24. So that's basically going to be 3.25 days. And that's if I'm running full blast with the generator. But I don't usually run full blast with the generator. I'll try and get it right around about that 75%. I'll try and use about 7,000 watts per hour or less if I can, because then I'm not running it as hard. Now, if I'm going to heat up water, yeah, I'm going to use up a little bit more. But like I said, I was running last time we lost power, I was running this AC unit. I was running a window unit in part of the house and a portable unit in the other part of the house. Plus the lights, ceiling fans don't use a whole lot, refrigerators and freezers. And that's basically all that we used. And we were kept it right around about that 7,000 watts. Oh, they have to hook up the natural gas? Yeah. You have to have a tank for fuel here? Yeah. You need to have a permit? Yeah. Here, I don't need a permit. I'm out in the country. Yet. That's why I'm trying to get all my infrastructure done before they start asking, oh, you need a permit for this to install this and install that. I'm trying to get it all done before everybody wants that piece of that pie where you have to fork over money just to do something. And I'm going to go ahead and go dark here where I can quick burn one. Yeah, like I said, depending on where you live, please check out all your local regulations, everything else before you do something. Because if you don't have a permit, they'll make you rip it all out, get the permit, and then redo everything. You put the cables inside a conduit so you don't trip on them. Remember, I have to set this up, so if I'm not here, Molly can do it. So I have to go over it with her a couple times, give her a checklist on what to do. Well, first thing to do is don't panic. After the storm is run its course, after it's already gone, walk over to the breaker box, you open up your main panel, and you turn off the main. Okay, you turn off all essential breakers. You go over there, you start the generator, let that warm up for 5 minutes. Then you can plug in your generator, and then you throw on the breaker for the generator so you can power everything else. So during these storms, do not panic. Just basically, sit down with the flashlight, grab a book, kick back into your safe spot with these hurricanes. You want to keep your phone near you in case you still have some power. Also have your weather alert radio with you because tornadoes do happen during hurricanes. So if you want to, you can write out in your storm shelter. Just write it out. You'll be there for a few hours. Okay, just keep cool, collective. Then after the storm is passed, go out there and start up your system, get it ready, then turn it on. I mean, you just have to remember just a few steps. You can get those safety interlocks so that you don't mess up, that you forgot something. I'll probably have a checklist hanging by a door. You just have everything just easy, ready. You just unplug your cord from a dummy that you have next to the generator. Unplug that, put it into the generator, turn the breaker on. You got power. Because I don't want to keep power going to the generator when it's not running. That would be bad for it. So make sure that generator is disconnected from power when the power comes back on. And the only way I know I get power back on is probably in the dark when the street lights come on. Yes, you can if you are afraid of it. Yeah, basically, once the panel cover is on there, covering up the breakers and everything else, you should not have any issues at all. It doesn't mean there might have been a wire that came loose. No, that it could be bad. Excuse me. But it's a good idea to have, if you feel safer about this, have an electrician come out every couple of years, inspect the box, make sure everything is, still snug, no loose wires. Those wires do come loose. I will say that. They will come loose eventually over time if it wasn't tightened down correctly. You got to tighten down to a certain specs. Yeah, so if you want to keep it, electricians' gloves, they're not that expensive. Yeah, I also have one of those little electrical detectors that you can go out there where your power's coming in and just test it every once in a while. If it beeps, hey, I got power coming in now, I can shut everything down now. And then it's just the shutdown process is basically going to be the same thing, but backwards. You're just going to turn off your breakers. Turn off your breaker to the generator feeding the home. Okay. Then you're going to turn off the fuel off on your generator. Let the generator run out of fuel. Okay. And as it's running out of fuel and all that, you can walk back over, turn back on your main. And after you shut the breaker off from the generator, then you can turn your main on and see if you have any power. I've had to do this several times since I've moved here, so I do know the process. It's a good thing to do every couple of months. Go over the checklist and do a mock startup. You can actually do a test and make sure your generator is running. Like once every month, run the generator and run it with a load, like you were out of power. Run it for about 15, 20, 30 minutes, and then do the shutdown process, then walk back over there and turn your power back on. It's just a good thing to go through, get that process, and learn. Do not panic in those situations. Don't do it while the storm is there, please, because you will miss a step. Yeah, that's the one thing I just keep reminding people, even at work when I have the customers. Wait for after the storm has passed before you do any of this. Let's see. Oh yeah, back to the food preparedness. Yeah, use up your perishable foods first. Then once you empty your freezer, or use your refrigerator first. Use your then to your freezer. Then if the freezer, your main, like a chest freezer or a stand-up freezer, is depleted, and you can put everything in the freezer of your refrigerator, shut that freezer down. It'll save you some wattage if it's going to be almost empty. That'd be a good time to clean it out too. You should be cleaning out your freezers at least once a year. Defrost them. I know mine's coming up for that here shortly, where I gotta empty it, drag it outside, hose it all out, and then I gotta put it back in. Like I said, just some certain little things you can do. Mute. Alrighty. Coughing fit. Alrighty. Yeah, so no harm waiting. The first step instructions for anyone who might not be familiar with the process. Even a picture guide sounds stupid until it's what you need. Yeah, I mean, like I said, safety is the key. It is. A lot of people don't know this, but all it takes is a quarter to a half of an amp to kill a human being. That's all it takes. If you're zapped at the wrong time, that's all it needs. Okay? So yeah, definitely, please be safe out there. And if you want to wear gloves, that's fine. Wear the gloves. There's no harm in doing that. Because during the hurricane, there's going to be a lot of injuries. Hospitals are going to be backed up in the emergency rooms. And one of the things that you need to most definitely have, I'm in an all-electric house, and I still have a carbon monoxide detector. Because electric heaters sometimes will produce a carbon monoxide when it's burning off the fuzz as it gets it through the summertime, because it hasn't been turned on. It does have get debris on there, and it does burn it off. I think one year that we actually had a smoke detector go off because of that. So I have the carbon monoxide smoke detector combo, and one of them did go off. When I was working here on the house with the generator, the second day, I had very still air when I was working on the house. It wasn't breezy, nothing. And I had a battery detected carbon monoxide detector, and I had the generator on the front porch pointing away from the house outside, and it still set it off. So yeah, keep those generators a minimum 20 feet away from the structure. I prefer 25 or further. Oh yeah, like I said, also with the propane tank that we're hopefully going to get here soon, I'll probably be doing infrastructure on that as well. They do have a PEX pipe now for gas lines. I'm all woohoo! That means I can install it myself. So yeah, so I'll hopefully be doing that soon because I did pick up a gas ventless heater for the house. I'll probably do that on a different episode later on. But I do have to build a structure to put the propane tank on because I have to get it at least 4 feet off the ground, minimum 3. I still kind of like to have 4 on a little platform that's going to be made with stone and earth. Then I'll have the propane tank on top of that because we do get floods here, and I don't want that flooding downstream, creating a problem for somebody else downstream. I don't want that. Not only that, I want it there for years to come. So I'll probably be doing a video on that. Then you can also have a propane barbecue, charcoal barbecue, so you can at least prepare your food, so you can cook your food. I'm lucky enough here. I live in the woods. I have oak everywhere, and I can cook on the oak. And that's one of the best things about living here. I got all that firewood, so I can use it. A fireplace outside. I can cook off of that. I can cook off of the my fire pit. So one of the reasons why I bought that fire pit is so I can cook off of it. It's just I try to get all prepared here for the natural disasters for here, and we did all of that our first 3 months here. We actually prepared for hurricanes. Then sure enough, after 1 year being in the house, we actually had to deal with Hurricane Laura, and we were actually prepared, which was really nice. It was really nice as work actually provided 5 gallons of fuel for us a day for each employee, which was actually quite a nice deal. That's so us employees can at least get in there and work. Yeah, for 3 days after Laura hit, I was so busy at work. I had to make sure that the fuel tank on the gas on the generator was filled up because I knew I was going to be gone all day. But yeah, just practice. Of course, a lot of people like the barbecue and all that. Like I said, that's a good practice on how to survive during a hurricane or any natural disaster. It's just having some of that knowledge that you can use practically. Now, the hardest part is actually keeping cool and dry after the hurricane because it is so stinking hot and muggy after a hurricane comes through. It is. It's just have a nice place to sit down and cool off during the daytime. And even at night, it doesn't really cool off. It doesn't start cooling off until about day 3 or day 4 is when it starts to cool off. Because it just changes as the atmosphere. There's so much water. And then the sun just heats everything up. It actually gets hotter after a hurricane. Because that was after last year with Beryl. It was pretty hot for about 3 or 4 days after the hurricane. So at least have enough provisions for at least 3 to 5 days after a hurricane. You should always have at least a minimum of 3 days of supply. Your water, food, at least medication if you need it. I can do this now after because I haven't done it with this stogie. It's just having everything prepared, everything set up. I'm still trying to get organized. I'm pretty bad about that. So if anybody wants to see any videos of that, me, setting everything up, I would greatly appreciate it putting it down in the comment below after the live stream. Put down any questions. You can even put in your thoughts too. Doesn't matter. I might find something useful in there that I did not know about. So let's wait for Cliff to get back so I can at least have somebody to talk to. And let's go back over the generator again here. Yeah, like I said, if you're running on 50 amps, 30 amps, one of the things you need to do is actually conserve power, because that's what you're budgeted to, so that's what you're going to need. Yeah, Cliff has been kidnapped. Yes, apparently so. Yeah, as you can see here with the generator here, you got the your oil dipstick here, oil fill. These things will also have an overfill sensor on them. Believe it or not, I did not know that until when I first did mine, because I overfilled it just by a little bit, and it would not start. I went over everything. I went to the dipstick, and I was only like that much over. It was still enough to say, hey, you have too much oil in there. I'm not running. So I mean, it has to be in that range. Good evening, Blake. How are you doing? Thank you for joining in today. Yeah, so like I said, I got the Predator 9000. It has that in there. It has the low oil sensor in there. I've actually tested it to make sure it would work, and it does. Like I said, right here, you can see the battery off the behind that wheel on the bottom right-hand side. I did have a battery on mine. It didn't last long. But the next time I needed to use it, the battery was already dead. I could probably put a trickle charger on there and have that plugged into the system until it's needed. I might do that, so if Molly needs to start the generator, she can just walk out there and just push the start button after she turns the fuel on. But it's not hard. Just remembering to turn off your breakers that you need, that are turning off the breakers you don't need running, like the stove, dryer, washer, the AC units, the condensing unit outside. You just got to remember to turn all those off, because as soon as you hook up your power and you turn it on, everything's going to kick on, and you're going to pop that breaker. That's on the generator itself, because it can't handle all of that coming on at one time. As you can see, that one there has the 50 amp. This is basically just like an oven for 50 amps, RV hookup for 50 amps. Let's see, you got the one next to that one is going to be your 30 amp L1430R right there, which will do 30 amps, and which those are becoming less expensive to purchase now because there's more of them out there now. It would be the most common one for 30 amps for a generator to run a whole house. They do make a box you can install next to your breaker box, where you can have it plugged straight in. It's pretty easy. Then you have these other outlets as well. Alrighty, so yeah, you got your 50 amps here, and not only that, you can also run a couple items off of these too as well. If you run a extension cord and plug in a freezer that you have in the garage into one of these, that's fine. It'll handle it. Yeah, my generator has a total of 50 amps available. It's only be 30 on one circuit and 20 on the others. Because I have the 9000. I don't have this 50 amp receptacle here. Yeah, I don't have that 50 amp receptacle there. I just have the 30, and I have 110 on like this plug here, and then I got these other 110s here. You know, they're all going to be 20 amps. The only 30 amp I have on mine. Would love to have this, but I don't, because these are going to be different circuits here. This will be run on this generator. It looks like all these are all different circuits, so that's a lot of power this thing can put out. But if you can just plug straight in the house and just run the 50 amps off of this, a lot less stress for you. And don't forget to get the magnetic dipstick. And if your generator does not have an hour meter, order the hour meter as well. You can get these magnetic dipsticks off of Amazon. Same thing with the hour meter. I tried to order one and it never showed up. I tried to do it twice. Any questions? I'm waiting. Once I get it all set up and everything else, I will run through it 1 or 2 times, show everybody what to do, and let everybody know what not to do and the reason for that, and why you want to use that process to be as safe as possible. Remember, we're dealing with this. You want to be as safe as possible. No questions at this time? Okay, Rob. Well, if you come up with one, you can just go back and put one in the description later on, or the not the chat, the comment section after the live stream. We're waiting for Mr. Fox to get back here. Yeah, I'm not going to be on for much longer, so you guys can at least get up there and watch the other stuff that you like to watch as well. I don't want to take up too much of everybody's time. I'm already gone for 1 hour and 30 minutes. I don't want to make this one too long. Make sure you keep all your flashlights charged. Make sure you have enough batteries. Make sure you have enough charcoal. You have enough propane so you can at least cook off of. Little chunks of firewood in a small fire pit. You can cook on fire. There's nothing wrong with that. I do that. You guys have seen my videos. It's just a pain in the neck when it's hot and humid outside when you're cooking. I do have a couple of propane check boxes. I also do have hurricane lanterns as well. So, that's basically what we run off is battery power off of our flashlights to run, during the hurricane until the hurricane passes. So then we can go out there and then we can start up our generator. But I'll probably end up getting a couple more extra items so I can, do a little bit better preparedness. Now that I have some extra funds. Because I like to get at least some of the stuff on backup power in there. Oh, and I said if you don't have to run long on these, I don't think I know my generator doesn't have it. It's going to be a power scrubber. So yeah, I have what's known as a dirty electric producing generator. So it does fluctuate. Most of your stuff inside your home, like your computers and everything else, does not like the disruption in frequencies of the megahertz. You know what? I've never known. They get like the nor'easters, like we have here in the Northeast. They get those in the UK, where they have the high winds and the high rain events, a lot of flooding. That I do know. I do know it gets cold there too in the wintertime. But yeah, Rob will tell you more of that stuff than I would even know. I'm trying to think of anything else. That basically it's going to be safety. Like I said, I always try to. Oh, we love it, flood. Yo, yeah. How many times have you had to do that since I've known you, Rob? Past 4 years, a couple times. Like I said, you can get one of those little inexpensive totes you can from like Walmart, or you can get them from Lowe's, Home Depot. You can get those 18-gallon totes. 2 bags of charcoal will fit in there. No, still inside the package. Put them in there, close it all up. and they'll pretty much stay dry inside there. Yeah, so flood, rain, snow, freezes, winds. Yeah, almost the same as it is here. No, weather disasters happen all over the world. Occasional earthquakes and tornadoes. Yeah. Oh, and then one of the things that we got to watch out for now is going to be these solar flares. Those things will knock out a power grid. You get one powerful enough, oh yeah, it'll shut it down. Yeah, it's just basically getting everything prepared, so you can at least be 3 to 5 days. Here we got about 5 days. And if you're going to be using the fuel, try to get the non-ethanol fuel. Okay. Doesn't have any of the alcohol in there. It'll actually stay in your tank a little bit longer and still use the fuel stabilizer. Okay. Still use that. Like I said, I have a fuel buddy, and I do keep rotating it with fuel. I'll put fuel in it, and I'll try and use it up within the 3 to 4 months. I'll put it in the vehicle, and I'm just going to refill it. Yeah, in 2015, yeah. Hi there.
And I'm back.
Okay.
It's always an ordeal with the neighbor. Always an ordeal.
Yeah, we're just going over some of the natural disasters like what Rob has there in the UK and what it is around the world. Flooding, rains, snow, freezes, wind. It's all over the world.
Key point right there is what he said, around the world, not a flat world.
Yes.
Not a flat the world, around the world. Stupid flat earthers.
Watch out for diesel bugs. It becomes more of an issue than sending fuel supplies. Yeah, if you have a diesel generator, okay, algae will grow in diesel, okay? And it'll actually plug up your system real quick, and it makes it go bad. Like I said, diesel, I believe, is less stable for shelf-stable than gasoline.
Yeah, because what, gas has 3 to 6 months roughly.
Yeah, 3 to 6 months.
If you don't throw the additives, or at least start every once in a while.
Yeah, with ethanol fuel, you'll get about 2 months, 3 months. Non-ethanol, as long as you seal that container, you can probably get almost a year with non-ethanol fuel. If you put the stabilizer in there, it'll last even longer, as long as it's sealed, airtight. That means filling it all the way up and making sure that seal is sealed, airtight. Propane, you can store almost indefinitely. That's one of the nice things about propane. Not necessarily the accessories will last as long.
I was going to say it, but I didn't. I was going to, but...
That was planned. Yeah, like I said, you get a tank, it stores almost indefinitely until the tank gets a leak in it, and then it's gone.
But solar's better.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, solar will last longer. It's more expensive as a startup, but it will have a longer lifespan. As long as you're not constantly discharging and recharging your batteries. I know some batteries can only do that so many times. Lithium will do it a lot more times as long as you don't deplete below 30%. Anytime you deplete a battery lower than 30 to 40%, that battery is already on its way going bye-bye.
God, the amount of batteries I have destroyed over the years.
Yeah, if you
I wish I
deplete
could find more of the good ones.
Yeah, if you deplete it down to 0, no, the battery is done. You have essentially killed that battery for a rechargeable battery.
Yeah, this one here is one of the last two of my 2300s. And these are, by the way, that's an Energizer battery. I have had these things for years.
Oh yeah.
Years. Because you're supposed to get like 300 to 500 charges out of these things, but you know that 300 to 500 charges, depending on the device you have it in, that's
That's
I
a
could put it. I used to put these in my wireless mouse, and that sucker would last in there for like 3 to 5 months.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You know, especially for the folks here in the southeast here of the U.S. Now's your time to get out there and get those batteries before they're all taken up, before the storm shows up. Okay, get your white fuel and some lanterns right now. They're accessible. They're there on the shelves now. Get them now, because when the hurricane shows up, everybody's gonna be running for that, and the shelves are gonna be empty.
Yep.
Yeah, especially that last 3 days before the hurricane hits now, because we got good weather tracking for hurricanes. They're getting pretty accurate with
Yeah.
hurricanes.
Stock up on supplies.
Yeah. And don't buy all the toilet paper thinking you resell it later on.
No, don't buy all the toilet paper thinking you're going to survive on 600 rolls of toilet paper in a crisis. Because seriously, unless you have chronic diarrhea, that's makes no sense.
Yeah, and the store won't buy it back either.
No, they won't. Ask the idiot that bought 500 freaking bottles of freaking hand sanitizer, and then the store gave him the middle finger, and they're like, "No, you're stuck with that shit."
Yeah, I know. I actually need to get shutters for the house. I have the mock shutters, but I need to get real shutters for the house. Problem is, they're so expensive.
2 sheets of plywood. Yeah, they only last a little while, but I mean, you really only need them during storm season anyway. So
Yeah. Have you seen the price of plywood?
it's going down, if not, isn't it? I thought it. Well, at least I thought it was.
Not a whole lot. I mean, just to do my house would be several $100s. Because essentially, I have to use a sheet per window because my windows are that large.
Jesus.
Yeah, I think they're 32 inches wide and about 5 feet tall. Remember,
God,
they
why
go
does everybody need a window that big? Jesus.
well. They're sash windows. Remember, I have a house that's like 100 years old, so I got big sash windows.
Yeah, that window would be too big. My opinion alone, that you don't need a window that damn big, unless you got a field to look at.
Well, no, you got to remember, this house was built before they had air conditioning available, so they depended on the breeze. Using the north side of the house as cool, south side of the house was warmed up, so it would draw the cool air across the house.
That's still could do like a 2 foot by 2 foot window, or a 2 by 3 window. I don't know. 'Cause that just
Yeah,
seems like a lot of glass, and if you break one of them windows, you are in a world of hurt now at this point.
Remember, I still have the old windows that are actually glazed in as small pieces. I did have to fix 2 of my windows panes after Laura because of the wind, because they rattled loose. They didn't fall, they just got loose. So I had to cut all that stuff out, put all new glaze in, pack it all in, and put the pins back in the window. It only took me, about 20 minutes a window?
Ain't too bad.
No, I mean, they're not big. I mean, they're about 10 inches by 12-inch pieces of glass.
It's almost the same standard size as a standard restaurant foil sheet.
Yeah, so, and it wasn't that much of a problem. But the house is far more sealed than what it was when Laura came through, which is really good. I pretty much got the house sealed up pretty well. I mean, the wind has to really be blowing before it starts moving that dog door now. And what will happen is the air will come through the dog door, and it'll actually go up through the attic access space. which I probably need to felt that, which will probably stop a lot of that too. Now that I'm thinking about that. But yeah, I got the windows are sealed up a lot better now. The doors are sealed up a lot better because I put that rubber, the clear rubber that you stick to the door. It's got the little like 2 inches wide. One half of it's is sticky, and the other half is so I can sit up against the door jamb.
Yeah.
And after I put those in, oh man, talk about our electric bill went down for both summer and winter.
Yeah, because you're not leaking out any excess air anymore.
Oh yeah,
Heat's not. You don't have any heat sinks sucking it all out, and your AC is staying in there longer without finding an escape route.
and it's not cycling as much, which is really good. Yeah, I remember working in the house. The humidity in the house was like 90%. When I did the floor in the dining room, because it was still wood planks.
Yeah.
And you can still see gaps in the floor. I mean, just really small. But when I put the plywood down on the dining room floor, the next day I came back in, the humidity dropped 30%. Which was like, ooh, wow, that is nice. But having a well-sealed house during a hurricane is really, really good. More energy efficient. You can cool more than one room here. Because before it was basically, just trying to keep one room cool was almost impossible when I first got the house.
Well, on top of that, you get the added benefit or bonus of not breathing in all the crap that all the wind is stirring up.
Oh yeah,
Which, if you've got health problems as it is, that breathing in all that excess debris, chemicals, whatever have you not, that's in the wind, in the air.
oh yeah.
Yeah, it
Especially
makes it
during
even
pollen
worse.
season. Yeah, especially during pollen season. And having the house skirted properly helps quite a bit as well. I noticed that the last freeze we had, none of our pipes froze.
That's good.
That was really good. Like I said, everybody still had all their pipes were still freezing in the house. Ours didn't, even though I even had mine insulated too underneath the house, but it did not get below freezing underneath the house because I had it skirted and protected from the wind.
Well, I mean, if you got the pipes insulated, depending on the thickness of the insulation, that that helps. That could provide an extra 10 to 15 degrees where they can drop where they're still fine.
Yeah, and I also have the heat tape. All they have to do is just turn the light switch on for the heat tape if it got that bad. Which, believe it or not, is a big help.
Pre-warm your pipes. Get
Mhm.
get hot water faster.
Yeah, your hot water's already going to your water heater.
Yeah, you already got warm water going through there, so yeah. Well, I mean, to be honest, this stuff doesn't really heat up the water. It just keeps the water above the level where they would freeze normally.
Yeah.
Like keeps that stuff water temperature. I think the ambient water temperature of those like heat tape and like the stuff you use for like RV hoses. I think it keeps it around like 45 roughly.
No, the heat tape that I have, it will burn you.
Oh yeah,
It
coming
will.
direct contact with the wires, yes.
Oh yeah, even the heat tape. Yeah, it's hot. And it heats up that water.
There's an interesting thought for you, Jason. Why don't you get another roll of that, wrap that around one of those water barrels, and see how efficient that does to heat the water?
I could because I got another 45 footer I can use.
Because I mean, that would be an interesting. Because those things aren't going to use a lot of electricity. It's basically just a diode with a copper wire on it.
Yeah, but it only detects it when the water's frozen. Once the water gets above freezing, I think it turns on at like right when it starts to ice up is when it only turns on.
So it's got its own thermostat sensor built into it.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't work then unless you disabled the thermal switch or the sensor,
Yeah,
at least the temperature sensor.
Yeah, because when it was cold, I took it outside and it didn't kick on until I had to put an ice cube on it, and that's the only time it kicked on.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm. And there's TD Knives. How you doing, Daniel?
Hey, Daniel, how's it going? Also, hello, Tiffany. Also, hello, Molly. I apologize for
Yeah.
slipping my mind now. I
Yeah.
100%. I feel dumb now. I feel like a bad friend.
Yeah.
Totally didn't even say hi.
Because you didn't see her. She's out of view.
I seen her in chat because she said hi to me in chat, and my brain was when I was having to deal with water leakage because
Your bucket got full?
it got full. I was like paying attention to it, but I forgot that it's been running all day, so basically since last night. And I had like a good 6-8 inches before it was full, and I just forgot about it until this thing started. And I was like, I should probably check on that before I get on the live. And yeah, I had a little bit of drippage.
Uh.
Not too much. I'd say equivalent of like maybe half a cup's worth of water. So luckily I had another cheese puffs container over here. So I moved some stuff out of the way, pulled the hose off, siphoned out some, and then once I had enough that I could grip it without it spilling over, I pulled it out and dumped it.
Go water the plants real quick with it.
No, I just dumped it down the shower drain.
I would have watered plants with it.
Yeah, well, I didn't have time to go water plants because I was getting on here as I was like, I'll be up in a minute. And then I did that and I was like, water emergency.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've done that before where I've forgotten about it, left that thing on, and I've come back to a huge ass puddle in my room.
And it sounds like you got quite a bit of moisture inside the house then.
Well, it'll do that in the summertime. I've got my AC vent closed. It's blocked off down here.
Yeah.
So, and then even my room, like all my air baffles are actually sealed with 1 inch, inch or 2 inch foam on all sides. I actually have negative air pressure in here. Let's see if I can do this without knocking shit over. So this is where my AC is running. That door is actually I'll push that door closed and that sucker will pop back open. Oh, actually latched it. Damn it! I pushed it too far. But watch. There's my hand.
Oh yeah.
And it sucks the door open. You can, when you put your hand, you can actually feel a draft coming through.
Well, the draft is good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I have negative air pressure in here, because I have all the baffles in my ceiling. I don't know if I can show this to you guys, but up there,
Yeah.
that's all freaking. Oops. Damn it! Flashlight. I don't feel like pushing the other button. Sorry. It's like everything up there. That's all flashing on the top section.
Yeah.
I have it all the way down there, and I have it all the way like back behind my boxes on that side. So that whole top section under those beams, that's all sealed off with the 1 inch or 1.5 inch foam or a foam board.
Yeah.
So I have no ventilation in here other than when I have my door open, because it doesn't suck in air anywhere.
Yeah.
I need to drill a hole in one of those just so I can get at least, like a 6-inch hole, or even a couple 3-inch holes. That way I can at least get some sort of airflow through here.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, during hurricane season, it's just you got to make yourself kind of comfortable, because it's going to be miserable for the first 3 to 4 days after, because it turns sunny. It's extremely humid and extremely hot.
Let's see. I moved it over there. I'll tell you right now that stupid little tent fan that I bought for like 20 bucks, 25 bucks.
Mm-hmm.
That has that 10,000 milliamp battery, that basically just 10,000 milliamp battery with a fan and a light and the ability to actually use it as a battery bank.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, that little thing, I have that on my beam, on one of my main beams up here, and that thing sits probably from head height, probably good 4, maybe 4.5 feet above me. And when I have that thing on, I can feel a nice draft like waft from where I'm at.
Yeah. And like I said, especially after the hurricane, there's hardly any air movement. I've been through a couple of them. There's no air movement for a couple of days. It's just the air is just stagnant. So yeah, having a fan with an AC unit is one of the best things you can have.
Shit, just having a backup fan, even if it's
Never
a
fail.
little shitty box fan, as long as you can power that, get some airflow going through your house, it helps.
Oh yeah, that's why every room in our home has a fan in it, except for the kitchen. Every bedroom has one. Well, the bathroom too doesn't have one. I can fix that.
Your bathroom should have an exhaust fan, though.
Yeah, I got an exhaust fan. Yeah, that's about it.
I mean, that's really all you need in a bathroom anyway, because you're not going to get enough airflow through that either way,
Yeah,
unless you're showering or doing whatnot with the door open and you got a box fan in the freaking doorway.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'll be doing some other upgrades to the house. Once I get a chance to, I'd like to add a couple more lights to the ceiling of the bathroom, because I just got the one vent fan and just the little lights above the vanity. But I'd like to have some recessed lights in there. So I want to get one of those canvas lights that has when you turn it off, it has a little ring on it. It gives at least a little bit of ambient light, so you can at least kind of somewhat navigate. It's like a nightlight.
Yeah, I know which ones you're talking about, because like when this thing goes, let me do this for just a few seconds. Oh shit, I actually went through the cycles way too fast.
Yeah.
See if I don't burn my leg on this thing.
But still, getting back to the generators and preparedness for hurricane. Like I said, like one of those little lamps right there, like you have right there. Yeah.
Yeah, you see it's hard to see on here, but yeah, that actually that's a glow in the dark ring that goes all the way around
Yeah.
it. And while this thing is on, it'll charge. When you turn this thing off, that thing will stay lit or glowing for hours.
Yeah.
I have a flashlight or two that does the exact same thing. It's kind of interesting.
Like I said, I basically did this episode for getting prepared for a hurricane, because it's already started. I mean, we got a hurricane right off the coast of Mexico right now, on the west coast of Mexico. It's making landfall. Like I said, unfortunately, we don't have any. Thank goodness we don't have anything in the Atlantic right now, but that can change in 3 weeks.
That can change in a matter of hours, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, it don't take long for weather patterns over the ocean to change and cause a huge ass problem on land.
Yeah, right now some of the Gulf temperatures are hitting 85 and 86 degrees for water temperature.
Oh man, that's good swimming water.
Oh yeah. I don't know what any of the buoys are out in the open water are, because you can't get that information anymore. And you used to be able just to pull up individual buoys, and check for wave height, water temperature, barometric pressure, all that. Can't do that anymore. Even air pressure, you can't get those anymore. They turn that off to the public.
Well, that's because they don't want us to know when things are about to go sideways, because then everyone starts getting stuff right away, and then they don't have to worry about doing any sort of essentially FEMA junk where they have to actually help people out.
Well, there's other reasons, but
They don't want us to be prepared.
we're not going to get into that in this episode. I could make that as an episode, but we'll see.
Also, things like this, something
Yes.
you can run on a battery pack for lighting. Because when you don't have power in your house, this is still all part of preparedness, hurricane preparedness, whatnot. When your entire block has no power, you do not want to be the one guy on the block or even on the street that has their house lit up like Fort Knox.
Yeah.
You want, like everybody else, you want that low ambient light that you're going to get from, a couple of flashlights, a lantern or two, or, what have you. Even the freaking, dead honest, even the, tea light candles, like the liquid wax ones.
Yeah.
Like the 15 or 100 hour ones that you can buy in the stores for You can get a decent amount for fairly
I got
cheap.
packs and packs of the 4-hour tea lights.
I've got the 50-hour ones, but those are like the liquid resin wax ones.
Yeah.
And I've got like 5 cases of these things, and there's 6 per case.
No, I got 100 per case and
String light,
4 cases.
even something like this, that's just 3 LED rope lights that I have. I've got them all slaved together. Between all 3 of them, that's barely pulling 5 watts.
Oh yeah.
So on my battery bank, this stuff will last. God, I think it's like 18 or 20 hours at full charge. Let me check it again. Whoop. Throw it all back down or plug it in. You can keep going, Jason. I'll just see this sitting here at.
Yeah, like I said, as clear as I've been watching the Gulf for the past 3 days, hardly any storms over the Gulf. So, or any cloud cover. It's getting a lot of sunlight right now, so it's actually getting warmer.
I'm at 90% charge on my battery right now. Those pull 5 watts, like I said, and it'll run me for almost 24 hours straight.
Yeah, and yours is only what, 600 watts?
Yeah, it's a 600-watt battery bank.
Yeah. So how many hours can you run 600 watts?
About 5 minutes.
Oh, 5 minutes at 600 watts?
Yeah, at 600 watts, if I'm running 600 watts on a 600-watt unit, that's not going to last long.
No, it's not.
Because I've got my little 400-watt electric heater down here, and what I've actually managed to get that thing running, that gives me about, I think, it's 45 minutes to like an hour and 15 max.
Really?
Completely drains it.
Yeah.
Startup on that damn thing is like 900 watts, getting that thing going. It's a bit needy on the power consumption, but that does what it does.
Yeah, with a couple of watts for lights. Yeah, it can give you lights for all night.
Oh yeah, that thing will give you. That thing will. I mean, you're really not using any emergency light for more than a couple of hours per night anyway.
Yeah.
Unless you have like some absolute medical need or a reason to run them.
Like a CPAP machine and fans.
Yeah. Well, if you're running a CPAP machine, that'll probably, you wouldn't even need lights to run a CPAP machine. But yeah, if you have to do maintenance on it, then yeah, you're going to need lights. Let's see, I have.
Yeah, because my CPAP machine actually has a heater on it, so it warms up that water. So it's got a humidifier in it, and that'll actually use up a lot of power too. So yeah, I have ran, in the past when we used to go camping when we didn't have any power, I would get a car battery. I would put my power inverter on there, my 400-watt power inverter in there, and that would run me all night. Again, it was a pain in the neck to charge for the whole day. At 10 watts. It still took it a while.
Yeah, I just plugged this in to check to see what amp it's wattage. This thing pulls nothing.
Really?
So it's less than a watt because it doesn't register on the unit's power board.
Yeah.
So with this on fully maxed out, I mean, you plug it in, it's pretty much on high. Will run indefinitely.
Yeah.
I can run something like this. I mean, really, complete light system right there. This is a 25-foot length of wired, basically fairy light, which is equivalent of like fairy lights that you get at like a hobby store.
Yeah.
Like the high end ones. I think I paid like $25-$30 for them. But that plus this, and you have lights. You just stretch this out across like one wall of your house.
Yeah.
We've already tested this during a power. Well, not even during a power outage. We're just bored at my house one day, and I was just like testing what I could run this off of. I can run this off of like 8 different things that I have in here. One's over here. One's currently sitting out there. I've got this battery bank. I've got the battery bank down there. I've got technically my new fan one over there, that 10,000 milliamp one as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we just ran this across the bottom of the floor of the house, and it lit the entire living room.
Yeah.
Without any issues.
Because now you have one bright light source at one location, you've distributed that light over more of a location, so it's going to seem brighter. Now, unlike something like this here, I do have several of these because they were basically getting rid of them at a low price, and I bought, was it 7 or 8 of these?
Yeah, I think you said for like $3 or $4 each.
Mm-hmm. They just happened to be there when they were doing that, and I still have them in the packages.
Yeah, I've got the.
And
I have something like that, but that one sits out in my truck. That one stays out there. But for those of you who, if you have excess batteries, first off, these little things, you can pick these suckers up anywhere between $2 and $5 at like Walmart, Harbor Freight, Home Depot sells them, Walmart sells them, Lowe's.
Everybody. And it's got a magnet on them. This one here has got a hook on it.
Yep, I've got my little kickstand. I've got the plastic swivelly hook.
Yeah.
And it's got a little flashlight on the front and an LED, LED on there.
These things are bright. I mean, it blinds the camera. And
mine actually still has power.
And I can get mine lower too, so it'll actually last longer.
I think this one has 2 settings. It's got high and low, but again, they're LEDs, so they work pretty decent. The only drawback that I see with these I don't like is there's the fact that it takes 3 of them little bastards.
Yeah.
So it always takes 3 AAAs.
Yeah,
it would honestly, in my opinion, if those took either 2 AA's or a 9-volt battery.
Yeah, 9-volt would probably be better, but they're harder to get a hold of and they're more expensive. Because essentially, it's 3. It's That's 6 4A batteries.
Yeah, they're a little small, but yeah, I would, and not the 9 volts that always had that stupid little plastic cap that had the 2 contacts and the 2 wires that came off of it. I hate those. Those things always break because the contacts on there, they stick on there tighter than a snare drum.
Yeah, and
you almost have to pry them off with a screwdriver half the time.
Yeah, and over time those will come apart, and you gotta install another one.
Yeah, you gotta take the whole unit, just chuck it, and rewire it.
I mean, it's not hard to rewire. It's only
2 wires and some solder, but yeah, it's still a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got like 4 of these. I think I've got a couple of them in a bag somewhere. But I always have flashlights on me.
I got several of them too. Like I said, we also have the ones that are push button and also light switch too.
Yeah, I haven't gotten the light switch ones because I don't really have anywhere to stick them. But again, the same problem with those ones. Those run off, I believe, 4 AA's.
Yeah.
Because it's 2 on each side of the unit.
And they do last a while.
And they're bright lights from what I've seen. I just haven't picked any up because at the random light switch.
Now they also have rechargeable little puck lights that are also motion sensor now.
Yes.
And you can recharge them, and you just screw the little piece of metal to the wall, and you just put it there with a magnet. They use them for like cabinets and stuff, but you can have them for when when you walk around the house. They come on. You don't have to really turn on a light switch, but eventually you do have to pull them down, recharge them, and put them back up.
Well, it's the same way with the like the hallway lights, or AKA like the night lights. Yeah. They have some of those that have built-in battery banks that even when the power goes off, they'll stay running for like 6 to 8 hours. But they're basically just essentially like little mini backup lights.
Yeah, we're just talking, Daniel. We're talking about lights during power outages, hurricane, stuff like that. Because we're preparing for hurricanes. It's that time of year. So, yeah, I do like these. I really do like these. I even have a little tiny little small one. I keep
Oh
next.
yeah,
I keep a small one next to the bed.
that's a light. See, the thing is with the camera, it picks it up more. But there's only like 20, like maybe 20 or 30 of these little freaking LED lights that are woven in there.
Yeah.
Or 50 of them, something like that. I think they're like every couple of inches. But yeah, that's off the flashlight fan battery pack thing, and that's. I just finished charging this thing.
Daniel, you're gonna have to go back to the starting and watch from the start. I go over the generators, you know, setting them up and all that. I'm probably end up doing videos on that here shortly. I do need to do maintenance on my generator. I need to change out the petcock on there, put a line fuel filter in there. And I'll probably put on brand new fuel lines too, since it is 6 years old. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be coming up to 7 years old. Coming up next March. It'll be 7 years old.
Yeah, that's crazy. Should see if this thing's actually
And
charged too.
last time I ran it, it was leaking fuel out of the petcock. I was not happy about that.
I thought you fixed that during the last.
No, I haven't done it yet.
It's almost fully charged up.
Yeah, I just don't want to get on the ground and mess with it. Think about just getting it up on the stand and then mess with it up on the stand so I can stay standing and doing it.
I was gonna say just chuck it up on like a table or something.
Yeah, you pick up 215 pounds. I'm going to have a lot of trouble getting that up on the stand by myself.
Slide it up under stand. Well, you have a chain hoist?
Nope. It's going to take 2 or 3 of us. What I might do is I might make a ramp for it and
Slide it.
and put it up on the ramp. And once it's wheeled up on the ramp, I'll probably take the wheels off, lay them down next to it, so it can't be rolled away as easy. And then strap it down to the stand. And then I'll also chain it too.
Use
It's
like
also ground routed too.
Yeah, gotcha.
But yeah, I need to get it grounded too, because you want it grounded as well. Remember, it's going to have 2 grounds. You got one for the generator part of it and the engine. Then you have it for the frame too as well. Oh, what's nice is that thing also has a 12-volt system too as well, which makes it kind of nice. But yeah, like I said, I have the Predator 9000. Once this one here is done for, when it
Finally bites the farm.
when it finally bites the dust, yeah, when it's put to rest, then I'll probably end up getting a 50 amp generator.
I would at least, in my get. Let me try that again in English. I would start just putting a little bit away here, and a little bit away there, so you can start saving up for a decent one. That way, when it's time to buy one of those brand new one,
Fork it out.
yeah, you can fork it out without like wincing at losing the amount of money from your wallet. Because God almighty, I hate spending more than $500 on anything at one given time, and even that hurts.
Well, the generator that I was showing here, right now is $1,300.
Yeah, that would.
And that's from Harbor Freight.
Yeesh.
Yeah, but that's got electric start. It's a smart one.
Yeah, that would hurt me just to drop that amount of cash in one shot. Mind you, it'll hurt. Doesn't mean I can't do it, but
Yeah.
it hurts.
Yeah, like I said, once the generator part goes out in it or the engine blows up, I'll probably end up just strip it for parts or whatever and just get a different generator.
Just buy one of the cheap Harbor Freight lawnmower engines.
And put it in there.
Was it a lawnmower engine or a pull start engine? One of the pull start engines. It's whatever
Yeah.
they have for the horizontal.
Yeah,
Sorry, the vertical drive
yeah. I think that one is
or horizontal drive,
I think that was a 13 horsepower.
something like that. But yeah, you buy one of those.
It's a good engine.
You put a gear on there or a belt loop, a pulley for a belt loop, and then you run a belt loop or a belt to a alternator, and you run the alternator off it, and you just run that, and there's your generator.
I can run several alternators on it.
Oh yeah.
You see the price of alternators though? I know. I just had to replace
Everything
one in
was
the van. In the van, it was $230.
Yeah, they're getting stupid expensive.
Ooh. Yeah, they're getting a little bit pricey.
No. No.
Everything's getting pricey because they finally figured out that they can get more money out of parts that don't work as long. Because of again, supply and demand.
Oh, by the way, the Adventure van is up and running. I don't have that charge light coming on.
And it doesn't know how.
What was the diagnostic on that one? Did you finally figure out what the problem was?
I got the
Stumbled
general.
on it by accident.
I kind of figured, well, okay, let's see. It's got to be a ground wire. Okay, instead of me going out there and measuring everything with the voltage meter, I said, okay, I'll have somebody sit in the seat while the engine's running, and I will grab a wire, and I will gently move it back and forth. So I started from the driver's side of the vehicle where the battery is, and I worked my way towards the alternator. Well, as soon as I grabbed that one wire is going from the alternator to the frame of the vehicle, when I moved that one, the light went out.
So so it was a loose ground from the alternator.
I think the wire might be getting compromised, so I'll probably have to replace that wire. But I don't. I have to go to the auto parts store and get that little connector that attaches to the alternator. This little box is like a little sealed little diode box.
Yep.
I just need to know
Snaps in there.
No, actually it's bolted on there, and it's got a wire going to the frame next to the radiator. So I just can't go from wire to wire. I think there's a little resistor in there.
Gotcha.
So I would have to replace that resistor with it. So I don't know exactly what it's called. I'm going to have to drive up there and say, hey, I need that part replaced. But then I have to take a lot of the radiator surround off to get to the screw.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, or I can just cut a hole right where the screw and the washers are and do it that way.
Yeah,
So I can
you
at least
could cut a hole right in the shroud.
I mean, it's not a just big enough so I can get the the screw in and out of there and all that. I can still lift it up and get to it, but I can't unscrew it with that cover on.
Yeah.
But I don't want to cut up into it because then I'll get a split later on. So if I cut a circle inside of it, it won't crack.
Yeah. Seems like a viable way to do it. But again, like you said, you got to take it all down there now to go get the part. But at least you know what the problem is.
Yeah, I know. I'm 95% sure that is the issue. Because that's when I grabbed those wires and I gently moved it, and the light went out. I couldn't hear Molly say, "It's out." But yeah, when I went back to rest, she said, "Oh no, the light's out."
I yelled it.
I know you yelled it. I just couldn't hear you over the engine. But yeah, just making sure all your grounds are on there correctly, and you shouldn't have any issues. But yeah, so the Adventure van is up and running again, so that means I can run to Lufkin next month and take the cooler with us
Nice.
and grab some more hurricane preparedness food. So yeah, I'm going to try and extend our food prep and everything else. I want to try to extend that to at least 10 days. I mean, I have the MREs, but that is backup for the backup. That's the last of the food that you want to eat. I still think I have another 5-6 years on those. I tested one last week, and it still heats up, and it still gets hot, as in boiling hot. And those are the civilian MREs. like the ones I showed you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still producing the heat just as long as it did when I first got them, brand new.
Nice.
So every once in a while, I'll pull one off the shelf. Every once in a while, and I'll test one. What's nice is they can actually pull those bags out, and I can throw it in boiling water too, because they're in the foil bag,
Yeah.
a very thick foil bag.
Oh, I'm not paying that much price. Never mind. That hurt.
Yeah. So we ended up with a couple more MREs are up in the cupboard now. The big thick military ones, we do have a couple of those. I would still like to get several more of those. I can just throw up in there, and at least I know I have them. And they can be up there for 25 years. I mean, you still eat them cold. They're not as good. But like I said, they're not as good as regular food. But they are, they'll sustain you with the calories that you need. And it is edible. It's food.
That's actually not bad for $80. Looking at emergency preparedness stuff, even for like food kit wise. Four Patriots has one 72-hour kit for like $80.
Yeah.
But that one also comes with a solar flashlight, looking multi-purpose solar flashlight, and then a solar battery bank that charges itself. But doesn't say what the battery bank is, but that's fine with me. I can.
They'll probably like the little ones that we have. They'll probably have like little ones like we have already.
Yeah, it'll be similar to like what you have. So it might be like a 5,000, might be a 10,000. Who knows?
Yeah, because the ones I have are 25,000.
Yeah, I don't know. It just, and unfortunately, it doesn't say what it is.
Yeah, these things are sweet. We've had these now for almost 3 years now. And, I keep them charged. I keep them on the windowsill.
All right, night, Daz. Have a good one.
Good night, Daz. Oh, man. The compass just broke off of this one.
Oh, snap. Just go back in.
Nope, the whole bubble broke. So I'm not that I'll worry about it. As long as the battery still works, it's good.
These guys are in Utah.
Which guys?
4 Patriots, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
It says ships from Utah. I'm like, oh, shit, that's a local company.
Yeah,
I don't know how much use I would get out of that shit-looking flashlight, but it might work. Better than I think it's going to work.
Yeah, I got a 5, I got a 2.5, and then I also have the C for charging as well. So I can just plug this in the wall and charge it. Let's see, full charge.
Yeah, I like to keep my battery banks at full capacity just in case. Again, I live in the desert. We don't often have power outages, but when we do, sometimes it can take a couple of hours for them to go. So it's always nice to have backup power.
2 of them.
Yeah, see.
Yeah, I don't necessarily need the compass. But yeah, and it also does come with a flashlight too as well. You just hold it down for 3 seconds. And is that the button there? No, that's not the button. Where's it at? There's the button. Button's back down here, and you just hold it down, and the light should turn on. And then hold it down for a couple seconds, and it turns off. But I have charged my phone off of this 5 times.
That's a good amount of time to charge it off of there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if I remember, I think these ones were capacity is 36,800 milliamps. So it's got a good deep charge on these.
That's a good amount of.
Yeah, and we picked up 2 of these. I think they had a sale on Amazon at the time. And if I remember correctly, I think we picked these up for under $30 for 2 of them. They come with the carabiner and the charging cables. I just keep them charged. I mean, if you want to keep your phone charged, you will get one of these. I also have I have an Eaton weather radio. I keep in the bedroom on the windowsill, and believe it or not, it keeps it charged there. It's got the radio. It's got the weather radio on there, and it also has the alert. Even though we haven't gotten any alerts off of it when we needed it, but
I've always got my Eaton sitting right here, despite the fact that it doesn't really get direct sunlight. It gets more or less ambient sunlight. I haven't charged this thing in, I don't know if you can actually see that.
yeah,
It's full battery charge, and I charged this thing 4 or 5 months ago. I think the last time I charged this was sometime in December.
Yeah.
And again, this has that same thing, so it's got that little glow-in-the-dark ring on there. So if you leave this thing out in the sun all day long, that nice little white ring will sit there and glow in the dark.
yeah.
Wrong one. That's not my UV light. This one is.
Yeah, so and another thing is having a good pellet rifle, believe it or not, even a little Pumper 177, the Daisy 880, will get you food.
And there's your difference in glow in the dark versus not glow in the dark.
Yeah. No, the lights I was talking about glow in the dark, it actually like a night light. It puts out similar to a 7-watt night light. When you turn it off, is actually powered and it's lit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I have the walkway ones you just plug in, but you don't see them until it's dark.
Yeah, it's not like that radioactive stuff that's painted on there,
Yeah.
where it slowly it goes away. It's an actual night light.
It's God, what the heck are those things? I forgot the name of it. Tritium.
Yeah, that's it.
Because that's essentially what, anything that's glow in the dark has basically got tritium particles in it.
Yeah, like a lot of the old watches.
That's how they kept it's got that little, those cords, well, for the hand watch, the actual hands always had that little bit of tritium painted in there, and you had that out in the sun, that shit would glow in the dark like crazy.
Oh yeah. But yeah, like I said, it's just getting prepared. Like I said, even where Daniel is, when we first
Hi, Kathy.
Hi, Kathy. When we first got to the Phoenix area, their electrical system was okay, but they would still lose power during the thunderstorms that would roll through. But they'd only be out of power for only a few hours. You're not going to be out of power for days on end like we are here. So like I said, getting prepared for hurricanes and flooding, we need to be prepared. At least with the flooding, we can get a little bit higher. But I'm slowly working that. Hey, Drunken Chef, how you doing? We are doing good. We're about ready to be closing it down here in about 6 minutes.
Ooh, getting that time already.
Yeah, I know. 2.5 hours tonight.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, Daniel only went 2 days without power. That's actually not bad, considering a lot of people get stuck, weeks on end without power.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something really bad when it happens there.
Oh yeah, it's the whole scenario of what would you rather not have: heat in the wintertime or AC in the summertime. I'd personally, my personal choice, I'd rather go without heat in the wintertime because you put more clothes on.
Yeah.
Summertime, you can only take so much off before you get arrested.
Yeah. That's okay, Mr. Chef there. It's okay. Like I said, if you want to go back to the beginning, watch a little bit of it and put it in a comment. I'm going to be getting a little bit more prepared for, the hurricane season coming up here. I can do, since I have some funds freed up, I should be able to do my actual generator hookup instead of being temporary as I've had it for many years. So I should be able to put in I got the conduit. I have the wire. I just need to get a couple more breakers, the surge protector, and another small breaker box. A sub panel. So I should be able to get those here within the next few weeks, and I'll probably start putting in the conduit here shortly, even though it's gonna be hot and miserable. But if I spend at least 10-15 minutes on it a day, it shouldn't be that bad. Yeah, I'm always late on the channel too. Yes, yeah, and with that, let's see. It's just keeping things charged, being prepared. Don't panic. Yeah, it's also keeping your pets comfortable too. That's the one thing too. Like I said, with the generator, you're only allowed so many watts. Okay, and you just got to budget your watts. If you can run your generator at 75%, do that. That'll keep you more hours of fuel to go longer instead of running at full tilt. That's why I try to keep my 9,000 watt generator at around about 7,000 watts. I can run longer. It gives me an extra 2 hours, 3 hours of runtime, so I can run up to about 14, 15 hours. But like I said, 7 gallons at 9,000 watts, it goes quick. Yeah, so like I said, keep your battery banks charged. Keep your flashlights charged now, because a lot of them are all rechargeable battery. It's always good to have at least spend a couple of extra dollars here and there. If you can afford $60 a month, stash away and get stuff that you need, so you can afford it. Like a power bank for your internet box, your router, so at least you can run it for at least several hours after the power goes out. Get one. Because when the power goes out, doesn't necessarily mean the internet is out. So at least you have some kind of communications besides cellular towers. And when cellular towers go down during hurricane season, you don't get cellular service for a while, but you still might get your provider through like your cable. Those usually can handle a lot better calamities than hurricanes. Now EMP, solar flare, something like that. Now everything just goes down.
Still part of the assessment of being prepared. I know a lot of you are probably going to give me flack for saying this, but this guy right here, as much as I hate to say it, this little Ozark Trail flashlight, I have had this thing for years.
Yeah,
I think I paid literally $5 for it. Takes 3 AAA batteries, and it's an 80 lumen flashlight. I mean, it is
Harbor Freight.
Look, not bad. Yeah.
Okay. Still works. 3 AAA batteries.
It's quick. Yours also has that zoom on it, though.
Yeah.
Mine, unfortunately, doesn't have the zoom, but, it'll sit flat. It's got a flat bottom. And you can get a pack. Look, there's Ozark Trail sells it. It's a little kit. Comes with like 2 of these, 2 headlamps, and then 2 something else's.
Yeah, you can even get the 5-packs too.
Yep.
For like $25.
Oh, you can get that 5-pack's like $12.
Yeah.
Yeah. The most you, and they'll come with. I think some of them do come with the batteries.
Yeah.
So you don't have to sit there and buy spend an arm and a leg on batteries. But I mean, it's a crappy flashlight. I'll admit it. It's a junk flashlight. It's like a low end flashlight, but it still works in a pinch. I mean, this is like I said, this is daylight in my room. I have look at that. That's how much light I got.
Yeah, rechargeable batteries. Okay, they are expensive. Okay, I got the charger. I can just pop these in whenever I need to charge them.
Yep, same with mine.
And I got and I got the big charger too, so I can put in multiple batteries. I can put in 9 volts, AA's, and AAA's.
Wrap sandwich.
Well, it'd
No,
be
I
nice.
gotta remember which way these go in.
You know what'd be nice if they had those big 6-volt batteries. You know, the square ones with the springs on them, if they were rechargeable.
Oh my god, yes.
You put those in a couple of them in a box, they'll last a long time.
You can
Especially
slave
for
those together and make your own basically 12-volt battery. If
Yes.
need be.
Yeah, and like I said, we do have the rechargeable batteries, the 6-volt and the 12-volt at work. Okay, like they use for like the deer feeders or the security systems. We sell those batteries at work. Those are rechargeable. But they're like $40 a battery.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could go to like Tractor Supply and get the batteries for the electric fences, the solar ones.
Yeah,
But again, price is going to be the problem on that. You're probably paying $40 to $60, maybe to $100 for one of them batteries.
yeah,
I will. You know what? Next time I'm at Harbor Freight, I will look into that to see if they actually just sell the replacement batteries and how they look.
yeah.
No, you know what? I'm almost positive I know exactly what it's going to be. That square battery with
Mhm.
those 2 flat connector terminals that are folded over that are barely like
Yes.
that far off the top of it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, those are only be like 4 amp-hour batteries, though.
Yeah, but I mean the battery itself is probably still going to get you a long run time if you're not running a heavy load off of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, look what they're running. They're basically running an electric fence, but that electric fence ain't really doing anything until you actually physically touch it.
Yeah, because it's not using amperage; it's using voltage.
Yeah.
It's just ramping up the voltage through what do you call it?
Diode,
No,
the capacitor.
capacitor. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, you can make a big battery with one of those, but like I said, it's the battery life is going to be a lot shorter than a lithium.
But like I said, again, you can go that route. You can just make yourself, a connector harness and just run a whole bunch of those in concession and then just, put a plug end on it if you need be or whatnot.
Yeah, I just don't want the batteries in or near the house.
Yeah, that's
If I do that, I'll make a little room out, in the carport, a little box I can put it all in. So if the fire happens, it happens out there, not here.
yeah, it makes I understand. Ooh.
All it takes is one of those little safety things to quit, and you can overcharge those batteries, and you got a fire.
That's why I think everybody runs those trickle chargers
Yeah,
with the float shut off.
yeah. But again, sometimes they'll fail and they'll keep charging. That's one of the scary things. Is you really got to keep an eye on them to make sure it's always working properly. It's just not set it there and forget it. Everything is. There's always a chance for something to fail.
Nowadays, yes, more often than not.
And then when it fails, it's pretty exciting
Spectacular.
to watch. Yes.
It's a free fireworks show because batteries don't melt; they explode.
Oh yeah, especially with lithium when you throw water on them. Yeah, it's like throwing water on a magnesium fire. No, you're not getting it out.
Baking soda.
So yeah, let's see what else. Like I said, it's just being prepared. Do a little bit of study, do a little bit of homework, and the more you dig into it, the more fascinating you'll actually find it. Getting the stuff set up. What can you do? What can you afford? Just start small and work your way up. Save up, and do something a little bit bigger. But you can always do something to keep something running when the power goes out for at least a little while. Like those little battery banks you can plug into the wall, and you can plug in like a lamp. You can plug in a internet router. So at least you can have internet for at least a little while. Now you can run a laptop, you can run a PC for a little while, so you can at least get the information. It's not like you have somebody up and down and running up and down the street saying the latest news of what's going on. Newspapers take a while to get out now because we don't have newspapers anymore. Everything's almost all wireless now. When the system goes down, everybody's kind of screwed to get information because everything's going to be delayed. We're about 6 minutes over, so we're going to go ahead and shut down now. And if you want to, go ahead and go back into the comment section below after the video is aired. Put in any questions you want. I'll try to answer them as best I can. If you want to put in there an idea, put it in there. It might be something I might not know. Something I can implement into what I'm doing here. The more minds with the more ideas, the better everything is. You can do far more with 5 ideas than you have with just one.
100% true on that.
Yeah. All right. With that, I wish everybody a nice, good week. And don't forget, we got Cliff on Saturday night, roughly around 7:30 for his first video. And then the second one's about an hour afterwards. And with that, everybody have a wonderful time. Stay cool. And don't forget to get out there and slap a rat. Any closing words?
Negative.
Word.
I got nothing this week.
Word. All right. Good night, everybody.
Peace out. Can't unmute me, unmute.
Yeah, then I'll just put us back on mute when it goes out. Yeah.
I know I gotta hit the thing when it freaking got my button on there again.
Yeah, right now I got my little battery packs in there and giving